If you have been using Loopy Pro, then you already know what an amazing piece of software this is. But with Loopy 2.0 about to be released, today I'm taking a sneak peek look at a feature that has got me very excited. This is MIDI Loops inside Loopy Pro. Let's check it out and see what it can do. So let's try and record something using MIDI clips and see how it goes. Got the click running in my ear. Let's record some drums. Here we go. That's now looping back. The cool thing is, I can add things on top of that, layer things up now. So if I double press with 2 fingers, I can add another layer on that MIDI clip. And it will quantize it because of the settings that I have done. Let's maybe record in a little bass line. Sounding kind of cool. Maybe a little lead line on top of that. Some guitar. And the cool thing is, you can solo and mute these clips in the same way you would any other clip. And you can bring things back in. Gives you a little idea of what you can do by layering things up inside a Loopy. So let's first take a quick look at how to create a MIDI loop. You go over to the pencil icon as always, and just in from the typical donut shape clip that we've got here, there's a similar donut shape, but this is a MIDI clip. So you can see it's created that clip there. I'm just going to click on it, and I need to change the color so that it works with my MIDI keyboard to orange. And if I want to record into that clip, it'll do so. So there's some kick drums. You can layer things up. Maybe I'll add a snare on top of that. Just like a sequencer. Now you'll notice that went a little bit out of time. And one of the key features that I really want from MIDI loops inside a Loopy Pro is the quantize feature. I'm not very good at using drum pads, or at least I'm not flawless with it. So quite often I will mess up a drum beat and I want the grid to just nudge me back in. So I'm going to show you some of the cool quantize features that comes inside a Loopy Pro. No extra plugins required here. Pretty much what I was using inside of Koala Sampler is now provided for free inside of Loopy Pro. So it's pretty amazing. I'll show you how to do that now. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to delete that clip. And before I record, I'm going to show you some really cool settings inside Loopy where you can get it to not only quantize the MIDI loop that you create, but you can even set how much randomness there is and how intense the quantize is. So if you want to keep that human feel, but you're not quite confident enough to be completely free, it's quite a good way of getting this to work. So let me show you. If I swipe up on this clip and go down to recording settings, I can edit the overrides. And if we scroll down, there's a setting saying MIDI recording quantization. And at the moment it's set to none. So if I click on that, you can see these different options. What's really cool is if you click a basic quantization, you've got your typical options, 16th notes, 8th notes, you can do triplets, etc. So let's just click 16ths. And there's a little play button, and it just gives you a little click to tell you the kind of feel to apply to your clip. And what's even cooler is underneath that, you've got the intensity, how much swing you want, and the randomness of your pattern. And visually, you can also see up here how that adjusts what you're looking at. So to start with, let's go with the intensity of say 80%. You know, so it's gonna quantize it a fair amount, but just leaving a little bit of that human element in there. And then randomness, I'll increase to say 20%. Now, when I record in that clip, it's going to automatically quantize. So let's give that a go. 2, 3, 4. Let's go a bit at a time and see what it does for us. So you can see I'm so far off there that it's had to move it to the closest 16th note, but it's still better than if I'd have left it without. So let's have a quick look at some other MIDI features we've got here. So I can actually go in and edit that clip by swiping up on it. And you can see there's a little pencil icon here. If I press that, it goes in. I'll maximize the screen to a fully editable MIDI interface here, like you would have in a DAW, such as Logic or Ableton or similar. And what's super cool is we can go in now, and if I've got the Apple Pencil here, or you can do it with your finger, you can delete certain hits you don't want. So say you're going to prepare a show, you might want to record some of your clips beforehand. You can create some amazing MIDI patterns in Loopy before you go and do that. You can draw in different MIDI notes. If you click and hold on one of them, it will allow you to adjust the velocity of that individual hit. You can zoom in with your fingers and then lengthen that MIDI note. You can audition what you're listening to over on the left-hand side. Down in the bottom left-hand corner, I've got the option, this pencil icon, to individually draw in or remove my notes. I can select several notes with this next one over. So say I want to get rid of all of those, I can do so. And then we've got this arrow, which I presume just means you can move the window around. Now the other cool thing is you can quantize within the clip itself. You can come up the top here to where it says 16ths. And you've got all the options that I showed you before. But this is where you might want to record some parts. Use this more in kind of a dual scenario. Maybe you're using the Loopy Pro sequencer and you're adding different layers, and you might want to come in after you've recorded and quantize. But for me, I'm trying to do it in a live setting, so I want the clip itself to automatically quantize when I'm recording. Once you've got your loop inside the MIDI editor, you've also got these buttons at the top where you can double the length of your clip. So in that case, it went from 2 bars to 4 bars. You can half the clip length, or you can even add in the same length again, but just as blank space. And then maybe you'd want to put that loop a bit later on. Lots of flexibility here. The other really cool thing about using MIDI loops is the fact that once you've recorded a MIDI loop, you can use it to audition different sounds. So maybe you're trying to find a good bass sound. You could record in just a simple bass line like I've done here, and then you can open up your synth. So if I press play, this is the Moog Mariana. And I'm going to click on a few random presets to see what it sounds like. And by doing that, you can come up with something that you want to use for your track. So that's just a super quick look at the MIDI features coming with the new version of Loopy Pro. I'm super excited by this. It's going to completely change my workflow. In the past, the one thing I really wanted from Loopy that it didn't give me was MIDI looping and MIDI options. There's going to be loads of routing options and things to think about now for me. So I'm going to start working on some templates that can utilize the MIDI functionality. There's also some considerations when I was running this project. Because the MIDI loops were triggering different synthesizers all at the same time and not recording them to the loop, that meant I had to have all of those synths running live. So the CPU was getting hit quite hard. So there's going to have to be something that I figure out where I maybe record the MIDI loop to an audio loop automatically and then shut down that channel. But then you lose that flexibility. But that's it from me, guys. Hopefully that just gives you a little taster of what's to come with Loopy. I'm super excited. If you haven't already purchased Loopy Pro, there is a link down in the description where you can get 10% off if you use my link. So go down there and check that out. Please hit the like button, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.